What's going on, everybody? It's your homeboy Popular Video Games here, chilling out, maxing out, doing my thing. Welcome to The Flash, Season 3, Episode 20. Yes, dual upload today, guys. Alright, this episode starts out with Black Racer resting in a semi-destroyed building. His suit is already starting to heal him, and it's starting to heal itself. Black Racer then says, "Wow, this isn't just some robot suit. What is this? It's alive." As Razor looks up, he sees the Flash running. He says, "Perry." He tries to get up, but the suit puts him down. He hears a voice in his head saying, "You're about to die. You cannot pursue the target." Razor says, "Huh? I got another voice in my head." Funny. Switching to Barry, he's running to help with the evacuation of citizens. EOD has been targeting law enforcement all over the city, and they have a spot to which they're going to be targeting next. Days later, after the encounter, military has set up 6 bases throughout Central City and 3 in Starling. Frost is looking at it from the hack cameras through the city. Frost says this will make things more difficult. Have members move into position of 3 of the 6 bases and simultaneously attack. Base 1, 12 metas charged in, killing 150 soldiers without taking any deaths. Base 2, 8 metas killed 100 soldiers with only 1 meta dying from a landmine. But in the last base, only 1 meta went. Base filled with tanks, machine gun fire. This meta looks up at them and says, "You dare to fight a god?" Tony of Hef is seen walking past base 3. He looks over. Blood. Cut in half tanks. "It looks like a tornado." "No, a comet hit this place," Tony says. A body comes flying out the window. The meta walks out and looks at Tony. Tony has fear all over his body. He says, Shh, the meta says. "Don't spoil it for the viewers." Tony drops to the ground saying, "I can't believe they unleashed them." The meta then walks into the distance. Hours later, Rip hears about the situation from Laurel. He says, "You know it's time, right?" Laurel agrees. Rip pushes the red button. The button for war. Trough members prepare for a full assault on Hef. 18 land vehicles with machine and rocket fire. 23 fighter jets with tank-piercing rounds and transformable capabilities. 200 soldiers armed with futuristic technology. Not to mention Cisco, Laurel, Barry, Wally, Rupture, Nissa, Hartley. Jesse's still down, but will recover soon. "And your dashing commander," Rip says. The Trough army is ready to go to war. Rip announces, "It's time for us to take back this time period, once and for all." Trough roars, ready to go to battle. 90% of the base heads to battle with 10% left to protect the base. Trough splits off into 3 groups, Group 1, 2, and 3. The Flashes are to assist all groups. Group 1 moves in on base 1. Trough starts firing rockets, killing 20 metas. They instruct civilians to move behind them and escape. The metas are now fighting back, but Group 1 has the upper hand. Nissa kills 2 metas with 5 swipes of her sword. Laurel screams, sending 3 metas into the cage, piercing their bodies. 1 meta smiles and gets off the cage. His wounds are healing. He hits Laurel, sending her flying back. Trough soldiers respond. One with a saber blade, cutting the meta in half. With no effect, the meta immediately heals back. A green chain is seen cutting the meta's arm off before it managed to grab the other Trough soldier. The Trough soldier jumps back, thanking the chain Trough soldier for saving him. Nissa walks up saying, "You know, I'm the one that fucked up Tony." The meta runs at Nissa. In 2 seconds, she cuts the meta 8 times. He says, "Ha, doesn't work." He smiles, and then he realizes the blade had acid on it. It's actually burning through the meta's regenerative capabilities. Nissa walks to the base and looks at the remaining metas and says, "Who else wants to die?" As the regenerative meta lays there burning to death. The metas charge Trough, and a battle that lasts 20 minutes goes on, with Trough winning, losing only 4 out of his 80 members and killing 40 Hef metas, claiming the base. Black Canary leaves the base to ensure 100 civilians get to the checkpoint. She is covered by 2 guards. As she is going, a sound is heard. The sound tears through windows and sends everyone. The civilians' ears are ringing from this. Trough members look up and they see, "It's Black Siren," one of the guards say. Two of the guards charge her, but her blast disrupts their weapons. Siren reveals her name to Canary, saying, "Your boyfriend isn't here to save you now." Laurel sends a wave at Siren, but she deflects it. Siren's wave is too powerful for Canary to handle. She then tries hand-to-hand combat. Siren easily dodges her attack, kicking Canary in the face, punching her in the throat. She runs behind her and slams her elbow into her back, jumps and does a flip and stomps Canary's head into the ground. She says, "Wow, training with those gods. These past weeks have really paid off." Canary gets up and says, "You're not God." "My foot begs to differ," Siren jokes. Just as she says that, one of the civilians pulls out a gun and fires at Siren, hitting her cheek. Siren then blasts the civilians, killing all of them in one shot. Canary looks back and says, "How can you do that?" Siren grabs Canary and says, "They shot first." Siren picks up Laurel and throws her into the air. Siren then blasts Canary with her max power, breaking windows. Brickwork shake apart, and so does Canary. She becomes deaf, so she doesn't hear her heart stop. She becomes blind, unable to see her skin tear off. She fell into unconsciousness, so she didn't feel her bones shatter. She falls to the ground after the attack stopped. Siren says, "God, it feels so weird to see me, well, dead." "Huh, well, it happens to everyone," and walks off. Minutes later, Trough arrives with Hartley, but later it's raining. Hartley walks over saying, "No, no, no," crying. He can't recognize her, but he knew. He says, "You meant everything to me. Laurel, Laurel, Laurel," and screams to the top of his lungs. Rip and the other members are crying as they hear the news on their comps. Barry asks, "Why didn't she call for help?" One of the soldiers says, "Looks like her comps are busted from the sound wave." Barry runs to the group too. Drop members are getting pushed back. Barry runs in a fit of anger and kills half of the metas, breaking the bones of the other 25. The remainder got away. Drop members begin questioning, torturing the metas, asking, "Where is Siren?" EOD versus Hef versus Trough War breaks out in the surrounding cities. Thea wakes up in Robert's lab. She says, "Robert, what?" Robert says, "Stay down, Thea." Thea jumps up and says, "Where am I?" She runs over to Diggle and says, "What are you doing to him?" Robert slaps Thea. He says, "Get a grip. I just saved your ass from that meta and healed you up real nice." He tells them how their friends are at war with Hef. She says, "You know about this?" Robert says, "Of course. You know who I am? I'm connected everywhere in the government. They've been watching Hef when it first started." Thea turns on the TV. The reporter talks about the death of Laurel. Thea drops down and cries. Robert says, "The media is on your side, but the military is another story." She says, "Diggle, wake up." Thea runs and kisses him. She says, "Laurel is dead." Diggle breaks down in tears, saying, "It can't happen. It can't happen to Laurel." Robert says, "Young man, for protecting her, I have a gift for you." Diggle's left arm that melted seems to be attached to something. Robert opens the container, and it's a mechanical arm, a blade, a gun, and a mini rocket launcher all in one. Diggle says, "Holy fuck." Thea says, "Oh my God, that's so cool." She turns around and says thank you to Robert. Robert says, "No need to thank me. I've always looked out for you, even when I had to throw you out to protect you from the mafia members that hunted me. I killed them, of course, but the family I left you with, you ran away. I thought those bastards had killed you. To see you alive, you're the only part of your mother I have left." Thea runs and hugs her father. Diggle sits there and smiles, but frowns when he reads the headlines. Canary down. Rip makes a trip back to the base for his time machine. The Time Master has found out where his wife and son are, and they're moving in. He retrieves them from his mother's house, and then they get back to the port with Rupture and Cisco escorting them. Rip says, "I had to capture this spot in order to get my wife and child out." "Why?" Cisco says. "You could just use your time machine to go anywhere." "True, but I have to park my time machine and I have to have a dimensional portal in order for Vandal Savage not to track it. Plus, this place is kind of out of the way. It's a baby clothes store." As they walk out, EOD is walking down the street and open fires on Trough soldiers. Trop soldiers take cover and return fire. The military, which was tracking the EOD group, starts firing down from the helicopter. Rupture and Cisco, Rip's family, all run out the opposite way. They run into Vandal Savage. He says, "Mr. Hunter, it's been a while." Rupture then attacks Vandal Savage. Vandal throws 5 knives at Rupture, but Rupture deflects them. He tries to hit Vandal but fails at the 5 strikes. Rupture fires a blast, sending Vandal flying into the distance. Out of nowhere, Al Ghul jumps from the roof and attacks Rupture. Rupture can't handle it. Rupture is outclassed by Ra's al Ghul's supreme swordsmanship and dead accuracy. He can only think of one way. Cisco runs to try to help him. Rupture says, "Stay back!" Rupture then programs his sight to self-destruct. He tells Cisco, "It was nice meeting up again." Rupture then runs, and in a blinding light, his weapon explodes, killing Rupture and Raz. Cisco falls to the ground, his mind racing. He loses control. Wally is in the location. As he gets there, he sees this pulse. He manages to get Troth's members away before the pulse hits them. The blast was Cisco. Cisco killed 40 EOD members, 25 Human Eradication Force members that were hiding in the ground below, and he destroyed 5 Argus mechs in the military copter. Cisco passes out. Rip manages to take his family behind a brick wall to stop the blast from hitting them. It only causes them to be alive but unresponsive. Rip watches as Vandal Savage takes his family from him. He swears and begins to plan how to get them back before he blacks out. Wally then runs and sees Racer in the distance and charges at him for revenge for Jesse. Wally gets badly beaten all throughout the city by Racer. Wally's on the ground. Racer has his foot on Wally's chest. Racer then looks into the sky. Wally then manages to grab a hammer and hit Racer, shattering his skull. Problem is, he's already healing as he's laying down. He's not dead, but Wally thinks nothing of it and runs off. Moments later, military helicopters find Troth's base. The vibe that Cisco let out covered the entire city, knocking out the power grid for a lot of major places, including Troth's base. It knocked out their electrical barrier, and it also knocked out their ability to be hid off of radar sensors. 2 military helicopters begin the assault on Troth's base. Guys, thanks again for watching. Yeah, I told you guys it's going to get very hectic in my series. Now, I know these series are kind of short. Well, these 2 episodes is mainly because I had to do 2 of them today. You can expect more 18-minute episodes, guys, especially with episode 21, 22, and 23. A lot of stuff going on with that. 23, the episode is going to be about 44 minutes long. Yeah, 44. Crazy, right? I want the season finale to be awesome. That's really why you guys are seeing more of the uploads of The Flash than you normally would. I was supposed to upload these once a week, but I procrastinated. Now I have to do it every single day to catch up to October 4th when The Flash for the CW is going to actually be released. I want to have my series done so I can review it, and then I can have the whole thing where I can say, hey guys, who did it better, PvP or CW? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Alright, y'all. Thanks again for watching. This is being Homeboy Popular Video Games here. Peace out and talk to you later.